Are you also among those 51% who used the same password from high school? If you think that hackers can't decode your password combination after the name of your first school or your pet, you are greatly mistaken. Because such passwords are easily predictable, such weak passwords are one of the biggest reasons why 80% of data breaches happen, putting valuable classified information or your entire organization at risk. The good news is that the olden days are gone. Now passwordless authentication is available, which is called Passkeys. With this method, you no longer need to rely on any old-fashioned, overly used combinations. Let's talk about what is Passkeys and how they are different from password authentication. If we talk about the numbers, every organization, network, system, server, or website has some kind of authentication like any password combination. Such authentication was used to protect sensitive data, yet HYPR's 2024 state passwordless identity assurance confirms 69% of companies were breached through authentication processes during the past year. With the advancement of technology, some black hat hackers and fraudsters managed to decode the weak authentication and passwords and succeeded in hacking the classified data. Such incidents of data breaches led companies to find passwordless authentication methods to have safer access to their precious resources. Let's trace back the history of the most famous methods of authentication and how they changed over time. The most commonly used authentication methods include personal identification numbers and passwords that are not considered secure or reliable anymore. To create passwords, the user has to remember a specific combination of numbers and letters, including their unique username. Not only are the passwords easy to guess and vulnerable to phishing, people also forget their character combinations. These issues have become problematic for the users at large. For the above reasons, passwordless authentication methods are being preferred to traditional knowledge-based authentication. These new methods use ownership or possession-based methods of verification by using newer technology for authentication access. One of the passwordless authentication is token-based authentication, TBA. This is a type of single sign-on, SSO, authentication method which allows you to log into accounts with a physical device, such as a smart card, laptop, or smartphone. You are required to log in username and password with an identity provider, which then issues a security token to grant access to authorized resources. Since hackers need both physical access to a token and the user's unique credentials for authentication, they face difficulty in accessing unauthorized entry to user accounts. Next is certificate-based authentication. CBA uses digital certificates to verify user credentials instead of tokens. Digital certificates are electronic papers created with coded information. The information is stored in private keys that are linked to the public keys stored on the account server to grant user access. Most government agencies and high-security organizations have been using certificate-based authentication for years. This method is highly resistant to phishing, however, it is costly and time-consuming to install. Then came two-factor authentication to protect user accounts in 1995, invented by AT&T, an American multinational conglomerate that provides telecommunications, media, and technology services. As the name 2FA shows, the user needs to provide at least one extra authentication factor besides a password or PIN. Multi-factor authentication, MFA, is another method which requires two or more factors. This process involves out-of-band authentication. For example, authentication smartphones via a laptop. Also, we use an additional authentication factor, including a one-time password, OPT, to send to the user via SMS or mail. Although these methods protect us from phishing attempts, none is foolproof. Somehow hackers manage to breach the passwords. Amazingly, SMS is the only universally used passwordless method that 97% of Americans use for verifying accounts. However, there is no denying the fact that OTPs are vulnerable to cyber attacks, SIM swapping, and phishing. Many industries use email to deliver magic links. This method allows us to log in by entering the email address we use to sign up for the account, clicking the link sent to the email address to verify our identity. Biometric authentication is automated recognition which involves physical traits like facial structures, fingerprints, or eye characteristics. We see that many big mobile brands use Face ID and Touch ID to identify users. This passwordless method is faster in that we don't have to remember a password or take several steps to receive an OTP. Though it is quite hard for the hacker to break the code, it is not impossible. Let's talk about the true champion of passwordless authentication and PIN-free account access called Passkeys. Passkey is an open-source credential management API developed by the World Wide Web Consortium and Fast Identity Online. It is now considered a better alternative for safeguarding sensitive data online. In Passkeys, webauthn uses public key cryptography to verify user identities to verify our identity. Let's understand how Passkey works. First, your device creates mathematically related keys to access a service, which is called public keys. The other key is called the private key. Private keys are stored on your device. When you attempt to log into a service that's related but uses an independent software system, the service will use the public key stored on the device. The private key is accessed via facial recognition, biometric authentication, or a PIN. Passkeys allow services and devices to confirm your identities without sharing any sensitive information or credentials, making it impossible for phishers or cyber criminals to steal details. Even if hackers obtain a public key, they cannot access an account without the corresponding private key. With Passkeys, you don't have to create new credentials for each service or device. Instead, your passkeys are always accessible, even if you switch devices. Major tech companies like Adobe, Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, and Microsoft currently use passkeys. According to Fido, sign-ins using passkeys can be up to 75% faster. Let's draw a comparison between passkeys versus passwords so that you can draw your own conclusion which one is better. Let's jump in. Passkeys are often seen as the solution for a future without passwords. But what sets passkeys apart from traditional passwords? 1. Enhanced security. Passkeys are 20% more effective at preventing phishing attacks compared to passwords and two-factor authentication methods like SMS OTP. They are also more resistant to credential stuffing and other types of remote attacks, providing better security for both consumers and businesses. 2. Improved user experience. Passkeys offer a familiar user experience, as many people regularly use features like facial recognition to verify their identity. Implementing a passwordless system that users recognize enhances their experience and builds trust in your business. 3. Easier management. With passkeys, service providers can eliminate the need for passwords during login and account recovery, opting for simpler methods like SMS OTP. This means users don't have to remember passwords, reducing the number of password resets and account recovery requests for providers. For scalability, users do not need to create new credentials for each service, platform, or application when using passkeys. Instead, they can maintain a single private key across multiple accounts, making it easier for them to access related services. 5. Implementation differences. While passwords can be easily generated and used across applications, implementing passkeys requires developers. Businesses often find it more efficient to use passwordless authentication through APIs like Twilio Verify, which allows for user verification across multiple channels at scale. Let me share with you some advantages of passwordless authentication for businesses. When comparing passkeys to traditional password authentication, the benefits of going passwordless are clear. Passkeys help eliminate password reuse, which reduces the risks of phishing, credential stuffing, and data breaches. Additionally, passkeys speed up and simplify the authentication process for both employees and customers, leading to smoother internal workflows and better customer experiences. Approximately 47% of consumers have abandoned online purchases, and 60% have stopped trying to access online services due to forgotten passwords. Passkeys resolve this problem. Faster, more secure sign-ins lead to improved service delivery and fewer account recovery issues. This is why 89% of security professionals believe that a passwordless approach offers the highest level of security, with passkeys driving this transition for businesses worldwide. However, there are some drawbacks you need to remember. Let's talk about them. Passwordless authentication presents only a few drawbacks when compared to traditional password methods. However, it is important to recognize that there are several unique challenges that need careful consideration. One notable issue arises from the fact that, while passkeys utilize open-source technology, the process of synchronizing them across various operating systems can often be challenging and cumbersome. This complexity emphasizes the need for a robust solution, and it is advisable to leverage an API such as Twilio Verify, which efficiently manages multi-channel authentication processes, thereby enhancing the user experience across different platforms. Moreover, it is essential to understand that there are specific disadvantages associated with each individual communication channel that is employed in passwordless authentication processes. For instance, one of the primary concerns with using SMS text messages is that they can incur higher costs compared to other methods. Furthermore, some users may not possess a mobile plan that accommodates the receipt of SMS messages, which could limit access to authentication for those individuals. Let me give a brief review how passkeys work in points. 1. Fingerprint recognition. Fingerprint recognition uses a device's biometric sensor to capture unique fingerprint patterns. When a user places their finger on the sensor, the device compares the captured fingerprint with stored data to verify their identity. This method is popular and reliable because fingerprints are unique to each individual and are difficult to replicate. 2. Face recognition. Facial recognition captures a person's face using the device's front-facing camera and matches it against stored facial data. Algorithms analyze specific features such as the distance between the eyes and the shape of the jawline. While convenient and easy to use, this method may be less accurate in low light or when a person's appearance changes, such as with facial hair or makeup. 3. Iris recognition. Iris recognition uses the device's camera to capture the unique patterns in a person's iris, the colored part of the eye around the pupil. This technology is very accurate and hard to deceive, as iris patterns are complex and distinctive. Although highly secure, it requires a high-quality camera and may not be as convenient as other methods. 4. Voice recognition. Voice recognition uses the device's microphone to capture a person's voice and match it against stored voice data. It analyzes various vocal characteristics, including pitch, tone, and accent. This method is convenient for situations where the user's hands are occupied. However, it may not be as secure as other methods because voices can be mimicked using recordings or impersonations, especially as AI technology advances. 5. Screen lock pin. Screen lock pins involve a unique code, such as a PIN, pattern, or mobile password, to authenticate the user's identity. The user must enter the correct code or pattern to unlock the device or website. While screen lock pins are easy to use and can be secure if a strong code is chosen, they are vulnerable to attacks like keylogging, where hackers capture keystrokes to learn the code. Here are 5 extra benefits of using passkeys. 1. Enhanced security. Phishing attacks are a prevalent form of cyber attack where hackers deceive users through fake emails or websites to obtain their login credentials. Passwords increase vulnerability since users often have to enter them on websites or emails that can be easily intercepted. Passkeys offer a strong solution by eliminating the need for users to input their passwords. 2. Greater convenience. Passkeys are simpler to manage and allow for quicker access than traditional passwords. Users don't have to memorize complex passwords and can log into their accounts with just a touch or glance. This saves time and reduces frustration, especially for those who frequently change passwords or have multiple accounts. 3. Alleviation of password fatigue. Password fatigue refers to the frustration of remembering numerous complex passwords or resetting them when forgotten. Passkeys can help minimize this issue by requiring users to remember only one method to access all their accounts. This streamlined approach can also boost employee productivity by reducing the need for multiple passwords. 4. Decreased risk of data breaches. Passkeys can significantly lower the likelihood of data breaches by removing passwords, which are often the weakest aspect of security. Since passwords can be easily guessed or stolen, while passkeys are more difficult to crack, their use in businesses can help safeguard users' personal information and protect sensitive data. 5. Improved user experience. Beyond enhancing security, passkeys provide a better overall user experience than standard passwords. This seamless experience can lead to higher customer satisfaction and improve customer retention. The ease of using passkeys can also enhance brand loyalty, resulting in a more positive and memorable interaction for users. To sum up, passkeys and security keys represent significant advancements over the traditional methods of password-based authentication that have been the standard for many years. As organizations consider adopting these newer technologies, it is essential for them to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the various benefits and drawbacks associated with both passkeys and security keys. That wraps up the video. I hope you have enjoyed the video and learned something today about passkeys. If you liked the video, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.